Let's talk about. There was some news this week about on the Amazing Spider-Man franchise front. Two pieces
That's
actually,
so
but
quiet.
they are yeah.
It's somber.
I'm channeling my Charlie Rose here now.
We're talking about a morose subject.
I know.
So yes, well that actually goes to my point. Amazing Spider-Man franchise. Andrew Garfield is doing some press, and he was asked about, Amazing Spider-Man 2 barely broke $200 million domestically. It did okay overseas. It made over $700 million. It's nothing to sneeze at, but it's not one of the year's huge successes. Not quite the feather in the cap that Sony was hoping for. Enough so that they are. They kicked the can down the road there. That is Spider-Man 3, Amazing Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
And they're looking at spinoffs instead, and one of them being Venom Carnage. Yes, it's called Venom Carnage.
Venom Carnage.
That Alex Kurtzman is doing.
And that's actually the VO. It's going to be done when the
It is.
Every time I say this,
and he'll come up with a theme song like he does
it's
for
go like
every
this.
movie.
Venom Carnage, Venom Carnage, Venom, 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 Venom Carnage.
Symbiote.
I just made that up. You can pay me
You
$33
actually gave me
now.
hiccups for that. So Amazing Spider-Man, though, Venom Carnage is going to be darker than the Amazing Spider-Man films.
Let's make
it
everything
lends itself
dark.
to. Well, Alex Kurtzman said that, and it kind of begs the question. Look, the Amazing Spider-Man movies are darker and grittier, or at least that was the initial intent. And then Amazing Spider-Man 2 came along, and it's trying to do that with the Gwen Stacy storyline and what Dane DeHaan is Harry and Peter finding his past. And then Electro is kind of in there, and he's, as everyone has pointed out, something like out of a 90s comic book
It's
movie.
like the Riddler or something.
Yeah,
it's like
from Batman Forever, which
Enigma.
circles back to Andrew Garfield's comment, which was, he blamed studio cuts for why the movie didn't work. Is that if you keep stripping away pieces, but I don't know if the studio is really to blame. Like the problem kind of with the movie was on paper and kind of speaks to the character of Electro.
Did we actually need like more of that movie? I mean, I think that's the real question is, could we have even handled more of that movie? Did we want it?
Well, I mean, I feel like at this point, the fact that he is, blaming the studio for that, I think that the problem was that it was tonally, they were trying to do a dark movie and then put in this more lighter, more comic booky element. The fact, is that I think that Venom, if it is going to be this darker movie, I guess my question is, can Venom save the Spider-Man series? Should it just stay that darker, grittier thing, which was the initial intent?
I think there's a couple of things. One is that I think that Andrew Garfield is very attached to that franchise. And so I think he's trying to reconcile himself to the criticisms that are legitimate that have come out about that film, which is that tonally it felt very disjointed. It felt like a mess tonally because I think that what they were trying to do, to your point, Jim, was to take a character that is notably funny and light, which is Spider-Man is a funny character, and capture that essence of that character, but still ground it in a world that felt grittier or more real. And what happened is that I don't think the film ever found a tone that worked.
Yeah.
I feel like it was so disjointed and all over the place. But then I think Kurtzman's valid point is, well, look, we've got Venom, and Venom should be a dark character. And if there's any character that should be even darker than that, it's Carnage, right?
Yeah,
this is a really violent serial killer who likes murder a lot. So like if you've got a movie that's Venom Carnage, it better be dark and gritty, because if it's not, then now you really, really missed the mark.
So you think then they should, Cara, let me pose this question to you.
Yes.
Posit.
Should they just double down then? Should Sony and the Spider-Man franchise double down on darkness, on grittiness, and bank on Venom and I guess Sinister Six, although if they're going to put in Rhino, he was pretty goofy.
In a Spider-Man proper movie, in a movie that contains actual Spider-Man, you need to maintain humor or you're abandoning the character.
Yeah.
Like, you absolutely need to. If you're going to do Venom and Carnage, I think you can go a little darker totally with the tone if Spider-Man's not in it. I don't think I want to see any movie that is humorless, though, like in the comic book world. I really don't. Like, there has to be some humor. Even Dark Knight Rises had humor in it, you know, it was few and far between, but there were moments of humor. So, like, I don't want to go to see this movie that's just going to be like, oh, darkness, depressing, gritty, whatever. And they're going to have to figure out a way to make Venom a hero anyway. Like, obviously, Venom is going to be pitted against Carnage because Carnage is way worse. What's weird, though, to me about this particular movie is having it spawn from Spider-Man without ever having those characters appear in Spider-Man proper is weird to me. Like, you're making a connection there that is... And maybe it's because I've been spoiled by the way...
like a Joker movie without Batman.
Yeah, it's like it's.
Although I'd watch that.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
I would watch that, but
I might watch that.
Yeah, maybe we.
But I mean, not everybody's going to watch that or want to watch that. You know, you're not. That is not a 4-quadrant movie. That is not the movie.
Well, it's
kind of
like the Gotham TV series. It's like, well, we're going to just make it all about the rise of these villains, and Bruce Wayne's going to go to school.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe do some gymnastics after class.
Well,
I don't know.
Hopefully what they do with Gotham is really, really zone in on Jim Gordon and make him a hero in his own right.
So
I think you're also going to see a little bit about early training and things like that for Batman and Gotham. But, I mean, with
Spider-Man, though, like, is Venom enough to save that franchise? Because at this point, if their confidence is shaken enough that they're not going to do another Spider-Man movie until maybe 2018.
Yeah, and that's far down the road.
Basically, they're banking on the villains at this point. They're banking on Sinister Six and Venom. So I'm not sold on the idea that Venom can save it because I feel like there's so many question marks there. And frankly, I don't know if he's a compelling enough character. And it all depends on what kind of incarnation of it you're going to do.
Did you see the Venom, the short film?
Oh, wasn't that the one that the dude from
with,
True Blood was
Ryan
in?
Quantiene?
Yeah.
Yeah, did you see that?
I did. I can't quite remember it at this point.
It basically was they took Man Bites Dog and made that about Venom. And it was
an amazing movie.
It was really cool. Like, it was a very cool short. Again, this is not, if you look at it, if you watch the short, it's like, this is how this can work as a great movie, but it's also not a marketable movie that would make a ton of money.
Well, I mean, it's a thing where like you can sit in a comment section and be like, yeah, make this movie, but the reality is that it's still a Hollywood movie that has to make money and has to appeal to a wide audience, and you're not going to do that. Now, I think the last point I'll make on this is what we always say: if it's a good movie, it has a chance to succeed. But if it isn't, like if it's just like a facsimile of something that wasn't amazing in the first place, pardon the pun, then it's not going to go anywhere.
And the thing that I think is more surprising is, like, with Sinister Six, they have Drew Goddard attached to write and direct, so they've gone in a different direction in terms of the creative behind it, but they're bringing Kurtzman back for Venom. Which is, in a way, I think it was a huge passion project for him, and I think he really fought for it, so maybe that's great. But it's surprising because we haven't seen him do much in his body of work that really says dark and gritty, anti-hero. To me, this may take us all by surprise.
Yeah, well, I think the jury then is out on whether or not Venom can save Spider-Man.